Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. BlueDragonFive here with yet another incredible installment of Disney Debates, Pixar Edition. That's right, folks. After 14 years, Incredibles 2 has hit theaters, coincidentally around the same time as the Pixar Pier and the Incredicoaster, inspiring such topics as the following. Best moment from the Incredibles franchise so far. Best Michael Giacchino score. And pitch for Incredibles 3. I3, folks, the biggie. Hopefully, fingers crossed. All right, enough talk. Time to saddle up, blast off into our arena to meet tonight's eager competitors. And let's give them a nice big Andy's Room welcome. In this corner, he's bigger, he's better. He's too much, but he's incredible. Let's find out. Fighting for Clan Hamlin, it's Tiki!
I am the Underminer!
And in this corner, a young up-and-comer with the potential of a super baby. No cape for this guy, it's Jacob Wile!
Jack of all trades.
Yes. So, boys, how we doing tonight?
I think it's funny that, I referenced the Underminer and you referenced Jack in your opening for Jacob, and yet we have opposing answers going into the first question. I find that very amusing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm also doing good. Guys, I just want to say I had the easiest day of work ever today, so I'm in a really good mood. Anyways, just thought I'd share that little happy bit of summer, yay, easy work day. Awesome.
I'm in quite a good Pixar mood myself. Lately, again, just things I just keep thinking of Incredibles 2, having a good time. So, and of course, all the Pixar period and Incredicoaster talk. I've been kind of psyched up in the Pixar mode. So I'm all into it. I'm loving the Luxo lamp this night. So we're all good. Okay, a little refresher on the rules for those at home joining us fresh, or just anyone who's just like, what did they change this time? Good news, we haven't changed a lot. We're remaining consistent as usual. So here's the rules, a little refresher. Of course, for our competitors as well, they may have suffered some metaphorical head trauma from the last Disney debate. We don't want to risk that. Okay.
Or our minds would have maybe got erased by Rick Dicker, perhaps.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Don't worry, kid. You will.
Okay, folks. Very simple. We got 3 rounds. At the end of round 3, our competitors will be given kind of the feature that is sweeping the nation, this time themed to a beloved Pixar film. We're going to call the usual the coin, in this case, the Incredicoin. The Incredicoin.
Go ahead.
Folks, real simple. Our Incredicoin option is something that's completely optional. So at the end of round 3, I will offer it to Tiki and Jacob, and I will ask them, hey, do you want to flip the Incredicoin? If it lands on heads, they can gain a point. If it lands on tails, they risk losing a point. Very simple.
All right.
Like so. So, structure is as it always is. We're going to go around. We're going to reveal our choices, like who has what. We're going to go into the opening statement, where essentially I want to hear kind of the what and why and all the good qualities. Basically, kind of sell me on your choice, why it's superior, stuff like that. And then you're going to fight it out and then basically argue why it's infinitely better than the other one. And of course, as always, my little cute competitor here, R2. You hear that noise, folks? That's the bell. He speaks for me. When he speaks, I've heard enough.
It's a shame we couldn't have somehow gotten an Edna, all right, that's enough, darling. Just for this once.
Well, beggars can't be choosers. So, all right, guys, do you understand these rules as I have explained them to you here this fine, incredible fueled evening?
Yep.
Yes.
Verbal confirmation accepted. Let's go to the randomizer. Of course, folks, like Vegas, we want complete fairness, complete randomization. It's just imagine this has been shuffled 7 times, and we have the names in alphabetical order here. So once we hit that little randomizer button, we're going to find out, and I have a feeling who's going to go first. I don't know. We'll see if the house favors the bold.
Oh, no. There we go.
Holy.
There we go. Jacob,
Holy,
you're on a roll. You're on a roll here. That's
Dang.
2 in a row that you haven't gone first.
Things are coming up Millhouse for Jacob. Traditionally, folks, the inside joke is that the randomizer hates Jacob and makes him go first every time. In this case, fortune favors the bold, I suppose. Maybe some of the super baby wonderkin might turn it up after all. Who knows? All right, boys. We ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right. It's showtime. Question 1. What is the best sequence from the Incredibles franchise so far? So, folks, what that means is everything's on the table that we've gotten so far. The first Incredibles movie, Jack Attack, and Incredibles 2. I mean, all of it was availed to our fine competitors here. They picked what moments they define as like the best sequence from the Incredibles franchise so far. And guys, what I want you guys to sell me on it and recap it in your opening statements. Before we get to that juncture, who has what?
I've got Jack versus the Raccoon from Incredibles 2.
Okay.
I have the Underminer attack also from the Incredibles 2.
Okay, so this one, Underminer. Okay, Tiki.
Yo.
If you're ready, hit us with an opening statement. Remember, summarize it, kind of, sell it to the folks and myself, and then, of course, argue like why and what, like what and why.
All right. So Jack versus the Raccoon is the Golden Age Warner Brothers cartoon that we never got. This is a very simple premise. It's Jack, a baby with a ton of different superpowers, versus the raccoon, and he gets the idea to fight the raccoon based on a late night cops and robbers movie that he watches with his father, who's exhausted. I just think the sequence, it's not the most thematically deep sequence in an Incredibles movie by any means, but I do genuinely think it is the best slapstick comedy that Pixar has ever pulled off. Everything about the sequence, just the way it's timed, the expressions, the creative use of powers, the music, everything. It's perfect animation. It's perfect comedy. As I said, I feel like this sequence is going to be studied in film schools for years to come, just for examples of how to get timing right on comedy. I just really... there's so much there. Just the creative use of the powers, the way that it's set up with the old school cops and robbers footage. I could go on, but I'll save it for the debate. I love this sequence dearly. I'll probably rewatch it. I think it's among the most rewatchable segments in Pixar history, and that alone makes it one of the best Incredible sequences.
Okay. Jacob.
Okay, I'm going with the Underminer attack from the Incredibles 2 now. Now this thing incorporates many elements, fast-moving elements at once. It definitely blends action, comedy, all together with a great resolution that actually feeds into the film's main plot. What's actually interesting about this is other than the opening interview with Tony, which was, as I mentioned before, isn't included in my actual argument. This is one reason why this is one of the best sequences in the series. That this is the first thing we see after 14 years, and this goes to show that the movie is starting off with a bang and it won't let up. The movie sets the bar extremely high. And it even proves to be more of a match for them, and even sets up for this even more to go in the future. It definitely blending action, comedy, even a bit of slapstick during the fight with the Underminer himself. And it just goes to show that okay, you waited 14 years. Here's what you got.
Okay, all right, guys. Again, it's only just occurred to me in this moment too. You both have kind of these fight sequences as well. So guys like Jack versus the Raccoon or the Underminer versus the Incredibles. You guys want you to go at it with the same kind of fervor. So you guys just fight it out and again argue whose is better, which is the best sequence from the Incredibles franchise so far of all time.
Dragon, I love that little so far thing that you do. I'm very amused by it. All right. I don't know, Jacob. To be fair, there's several things that I can cite as wrong with the Underminer sequence, and I think the fact that it overstays its welcome is the main thing. Like this thing takes up almost half of the first act of the whole movie, and that's why I think the Jack Jack versus the raccoon thing is much more digestible.
The
Um,
first act is like 45 minutes.
yeah, and this is like 20 minutes.
Not really. It's only like 5.
Well, it feels like it goes on. Like I'm sure it's at least 10 minutes. I'm sure it's at least 10.
It's roughly between 7 and 10 minutes.
Yeah, so I just feel like I just feel like it opens and it just kind of it does set the stage for the movie, but it doesn't like I don't necessarily think there's as many big highlights as there are with the raccoon. And also I just feel like to start things off with something that we'd already seen before. We've already seen the Underminer, and to me it doesn't necessarily have the same sort of oomph as the raccoon, which is purely an Incredibles 2 thing. That is purely something that was set up with all the strengths of Incredibles 2 in mind, from the with all the power set of Jack Jack. I feel like the Underminer is just sort of like, all right, we have to do this just because it was at the end of the last movie. Like, it's the dumping Jessica behind the dumpster of the Incredibles franchise.
Okay. I don't understand.
Well, Dragon, I'm sure you get that reference, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we have to do it because it was at the end of the last one.
All right then. But I have to disagree, though. I mean, like yes, and just what it did was it built upon the first one, and it introduced what the second one's going to be. Like it introduced the concept like this movie is going to be action, slapstick, among everything, and it shows the family working together as a unit, showing them that they can work together, and introduces actually some of the conflicts later on, and all you're seeing is a glorified Looney Tunes sketch, like.
But it's the best.
And the only purpose of it is to say, hey, for Bob to realize, hey, Jack Jack has powers.
Okay, but Jacob, you see, here's the difference between my scene and your scene. I feel like my scene is going to be way more standalone. My scene is going to be something that you can watch on YouTube over and over and over again and just get a kick out of. Your scene's good, but I feel like your scene requires you to get the real oomph of your scene. It really kind of requires you to know about the Incredibles going in and know about the Underminer and really be hyped up for the Underminer. Whereas my scene, I also feel like my scene is more creative than your scene, because while your scene is it's more action driven, my scene, while it incorporates action, it incorporates action into being this huge giant slapstick fest. And it, like I said, it's just
why would you have to be hyped up for the Underminer and stuff like that? You wouldn't even need to. You could just watch this by itself. It's like it's the introduction in the movie. I mean, as we mentioned, he rises just like the end of the first one. I mean, it establishes itself in the beginning of this movie. It wouldn't. It could very well stand as a standalone scene.
Yeah, but I also feel like it just kind of like there's more going on. There's more moving parts. You need to know about the family. You need to know about the dynamic. And with Jack Jack, there's just way more to it. There's just it's just more. It's just such an easy setup. It's a classic cartoon premise, and that's why I really do feel like it's not just one of the best scenes in an Incredibles movie. It's a masterclass in comedy from Pixar. It's one of the best Pixar sequences. It's genuinely the Pixar sequence that impressed me the most from just a pure character expression point of view. Like artistically, what they're doing in that is kind of blending like the artistry of Pixar animation with the wisecracking nature and the sharp writing that Brad Bird employs to mimic the Looney Tunes, and he does so in great style, and it ends up becoming by far the most memorable sequence in the sequel, I think.
Alrighty.
I don't know. I just feel like with the Underminer, like I said, I do think that I feel like with me in the movie, there's sort of a sense of like, all right, I want to see these characters go forward. I want to see the continuation of their story. And the Underminer fight, being as long as it is, kind of stalls that out from happening a little bit. It kind of messes with the pacing in the first act a little bit for me. I'm not saying it's not good stuff. It's really exciting action.
It actually sets it up. Like, it actually brings the main plot to light. It brings forth the main conflict of the movie into light.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just saying, I feel like what I really wanted from the, I just want sort of that, just like we already knew, like I said, the Underminer was an inevitable scene and we already kind of knew it had to happen. And I feel like
the beauty of that, though, is we didn't know what was going to happen.
You're not wrong.
What was going to happen? Like, we've waited 14 years to finally see what happened, and like I said, this scene is like completely delivered on its promises. Like, we got to see an interesting fight, and it led to the main plot of the movie, and we got to see, and without even necessarily knowing what the characters in the first movie, this establishes their personality, their powers, their relationships with each other, and everything.
So I guess the question then becomes what stands out more.
I honestly think mine works better because it actually features the entire family working as a unit.
Yeah, but you see, that's why I think mine works better from a sheer standalone point of view, because it's very simple. It's very streamlined. It's very much like you can tell this premise in it's like an elevator pitch of a sequence. And you don't need to know anything about this universe to enjoy my sequence.
I don't know. You can pretty much say the same thing about mine. I mean, you could just log into this and like see this happen. I mean,
yeah, but I feel like yours is much more rooted. Like I said, there's stuff that comes before yours. There's stuff that comes after yours. It's much more rooted in the franchise. It's much more like,
So basically, you're admitting that your scene is basically pointless.
No, I'm not admitting my scene is pointless. I'm just saying I love how my scene is just kind of like, if you've never seen Pixar before, my scene is almost kind of like a good sort of litmus test for what Pixar can do as a whole in general. And
I think my scene exemplifies that too, as like it shows that they're perfectly capable of creating, definitely blending action and comedy together and to create a cohesive tale.
Yeah, but I just don't think that your scene was creative in the same way mine was. I'm not saying there weren't creative things in your sequence. I'm just saying with mine, it was just balls to the walls. It was just like every frame of that thing was just so much going on, so much demonstration of the power set. And like I said, The Incredibles 2, being the movie that it is, focused so much on Jack Jack, it's definitely it's the pitch for The Incredibles 2 almost. It's like, here's what you're going to get with The Incredibles 2. This is where this franchise is going.
Basically, that's pretty much all your scene does, though. All it does is establish she has powers, and it only serves for Bob to find them.
This is an interesting one. You guys are in top form on this fight. I gotta give you both props there, because you guys are. I mean, you're both like it's Apollo and Rocky. I gotta tell you, it's really close. I tell you there. And here's the thing. So I was leaning in a direction for the majority of the fight, but then it was like kind of a surprising kind of suplex that was kind of pulled in the ring there. Okay, so here's the thing. You both have excellent sequences. Let's get that out of the way too. It's a really hard decision just based on the sequences, and I think you both were very even in your approach. You both fought this extremely well as you could have fought this, both of you. And then basically the fight really got interesting when you raised these interesting concerns. Basically the bigger questions of. I really went to the form of the question here on a lot of it to make the informed decision here, because let's see, Tiki. I mean, you argued it as a standalone sequence very well. The film school example really works. Yet it's the movie is very sold on Jack Jack. It's a big story point. I'm hearing a lot of good stuff there. Jacob almost had you with some stuff like the Looney Tunes sketch, and I think you both kind of hit upon something. You both kind of like punch each other simultaneously with your words, where you both kind of have expected sequences within the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you're so even in this round here. But I got to tell you, it's so close. But I think just like by a nose, I'm going to give it to Jacob for this one main reason. For the reason that, again, going to the form of the question here, is that the best sequence from the Incredibles franchise. And I think Tiki, what you leaned on a little hard on, don't get me wrong, you're saying you still you tried to balance out, but I'm not sure it balanced out enough because you really looked at this as a divorce sequence from the Incredibles that again does have roots in what the Incredibles was sold on, but Jacob really kind of sold like the entire family and the spectacle and the 14 years. It is something that is kind of as a big kind of standout of the Incredibles, and you do feature the entire family. It's not just the Incredible baby; it's the Incredibles. So I mean, I kind of again by a very thin margin, I'm going to give it to Jacob for the first point there.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, guys, very impressive fight though, very close. All right. Okay, here we go. Round 2. Best Michael Giacchino score from a Pixar film. Now, of course, folks, all are on the table for this one. So these guys, they had the pick of everything, and this is what they picked. So we'll make it very clear. And everything was on the table that Giacchino has scored for Pixar. He had a lot of great choices there, and this is what they went with. All right, so Tiki.
You can almost equal about half their library.
Yes, Giacchino, for my mind, is easily the best of the composers at Pixar. So easily, we can't really miss when you find a composer at Pixar. But again, just Giacchino, he's the top tier of composer there. So, Tiki, what score do you have?
I have The Incredibles 2.
And I have Inside Out.
All right, Tiki.
Yeah, The Incredibles 2 is just straight up balls to the walls. I mean, this thing is rocking. You have got so many instruments at play here. You've got such a pulse-pounding, heart-throbbing vibe. I'm saying this thing has a pulse to it. If Inside Out is classical music, this thing is jazz. My God. I just remember sitting in the theater and just being like, okay, this might not be the most thematic, most heart-wrenching Giacchino music in the world, but it's the most exciting Giacchino music I've ever experienced. If I were to go and see Giacchino live and have him perform only one score, it would be this, just because of the sheer bombacity at play. Not only does it blend all the excitement and all the fun that we remember from The Incredibles, which was arguably, up until this point, maybe if not his best score, his most famous score, and it just completely elevates what he did in Incredibles. It still mind boggles me just how pulse pounding some of those sequences are, and the music is at the forefront of that. So I think Incredibles 2 is just the ultimate kind of like, it might not be the most artistic of his scores, but I think it's just like Giacchino in top form, like musically, just strictly musically speaking, it's him at the top of his game.
All right, Jacob.
Okay, I went with 2015's Inside Out. Now, Inside Out in many different ways is an emotional journey. It's a literal emotional journey for one. So one thing I would know, now the story is fine on its own, but one thing that elevates this thing elevates it to even beyond what it already is Michael Giacchino's music. Now, the way Michael Giacchino, what he does, like he takes it, like he combines it definitely like shows his versatility in terms of showing like it can be whimsical, it can be funny, it can be sad, it can be even angry or disgusting in a play. Like basically, it can be pretty much any kind of emotion he sets it to. And like he shows like his how like
excuse me, Tiki, you're showing your cards right now.
Oh shit. Sorry.
Go on.
Sorry. Okay.
It's not your fault. It's his fault. It's fine. Go on.
I was just looking up the track names. All right, give me a break. I just
no.
I'm
just saying for why we kind of stopped for a moment. It's fine.
Okay.
Just go on, Jacob. Go on.
Yeah. And I give my reference of the week train of thought back. Okay, but it's but if Incredibles, Ratatouille, and basically prove for Pixar standards prove that Giacchino like was able to blend, was able to do whatever he could. This movie definitely cemented it. Like from the opening notes that's like just bring a smile to your face. And like the music, even just listening to the music on its own, the music just fills you with the emotions. Like even if you don't even see the movie itself, if you don't see the movie itself, the music itself just fills you with these emotions. Like the music itself is like basically making you feel what is making you feel. Giacchino proved himself to be a masterclass composer with this movie. I would agree with The Incredibles and the jazz, and this is like classical music, this is jazz, but I think it's more than that. I think it's just basically a class all on its own. Like it's like Giacchino proved himself to be basically a world-class composer with this, being able to move anyone and move people with his music. And what better way than with an emotional journey than his score?
All right. All right, guys. Once you get both angry and once you get angry and musical and a little jazzy on the sides, you guys just go at it. You know, I want to hear jazz. I want to hear anger. I want to hear emotion. I want to hear fervor. I want to hear fire. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like Inside Out. Here's the thing: I listened to the Inside Out soundtrack a lot. It used to be my my go to work, my like on the bus music. Here's the thing: the difference between Inside Out and Incredibles 2 is that the Inside Out soundtrack reuses Bundle of Joy constantly. You know that little do. Yeah,
the Inside Out Tissues music.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying when you're examining the brevity of a score and just the sheer scale of a score, basically Inside Out's theme is it's just a bunch of different variations on Bundle of Joy. Not saying that's bad. It works beautifully well for the movie. I'm saying Incredibles 2, the music is much more exciting. It's much more dynamic. There's far more versatility behind it. There's far more different themes and compositions. And what impressed me about Incredibles 2 is that it's not just resting on the laurels of Incredibles 1. I mean, you definitely do get that sort of like, you know, the classic da 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 da. But you know, you also have crazy things like the Underminer sequence, which is just, like I said, just kind of a huge just barrage of different instruments, and just the energy is just unbelievable.
We need to remember something though, like the goal isn't for these movies to feel the same though. It's not to be as Inside Out's goal wasn't it to be as like brash and dynamic as The Incredibles, so it's supposed to feel more intimate and familiar.
Right, but I'm just going like the question is best score, right? That's the question. So best score kind of relates to the music overall. That's the music overall is what I'm kind of getting at here. And Inside Out is a beautiful score, but The Incredibles 2 is something that you can just put on and you just like absolutely zone out and rock out to. It also does some really interesting things, like the Screenslaver music is very funky and trippy and kind of messes with your perception, much like the actual villain himself does. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like this soundtrack takes some of the good qualities of Inside Out, but also just kind of elevates it to the point where, while it's not as emotional, Jacob, you said right there, this doesn't like aim to be like a super emotional tearjerker soundtrack. It aims to rock you out. It aims to get you pumped. That's the point of it, and it accomplishes it beautifully. I mean, just the level of different instrumentation at play, just all the peaks and valleys of it. Just
speaking of peaks and valleys, my main point wasn't just like the fact that the movie's just constantly sad. Like, you know, like even the score in this isn't sad. Like, there's a whole bunch of whimsy and humor to be found here too, and there's even some bold and brash action sequences in here too. That again, not necessarily like The Incredibles, but definitely still elevated. I think it's different from The Incredibles in a unique way.
Yeah, but at the heart of it, like I said, even though it's not a bad thing, a lot of your score is just different variations of do 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 do. And for me, like I've listened to that score a bunch of times, but at this point, it's a little repetitive for me. At this point, it's a little bit on autopilot. And with Incredibles 2, that's one thing that I noticed even in the theater was just like, oh my God, this music is so dynamic. Like this must have taken forever to compose because every track feels so unique and so different, and yet it all kind of just squeezes together. Like it's not gonna, I don't think Incredibles 2 has the same sort of like vibe of like when you listen to it, you get the same kind of complete story that Inside Out does. But like I said, just speaking from a pure musical point of view here, just from a pure like how the music accompanies the movie and just the actual dynamics and talent at play with the music itself, I really don't think Incredibles 2 is I think Incredibles 2 is just him at the top of his game. I really do feel like there's just so much at play here. There's so much crazy contrast going on here.
I technically I don't necessarily see like I don't necessarily see the repetition as a bad thing. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily it's composed in many different ways.
I just feel like it speaks to the fact that with Incredibles 2, no track repeats itself at all. There's a thorough line going all the way through it. It's all very pulse pounding.
My main point is though, like it's to create a sense of intimacy and familiarity. Like it's not necessarily meaning like it's called a leitmotif.
I know what a motif is, Jacob, and Bundle of Joy is not a leitmotif. It's a very heavily used motif in that soundtrack.
Well, it's still a motif that's used throughout the movie. And like I said, it's meant to create like basically express the theme of the movie, like expressing emotion. Yours doesn't really tell us to do anything. It's like basically if you put the soundtracks for the first one and the original and then first one and this one together, you wouldn't be able to...
No. I actually disagree, and I'm glad you bring that up because I feel like I feel like the original kind of did rest on the laurels of kind of reusing the whole da 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 over and over again. Like I feel like the original is kind of more like Inside Out in that way, where it kind of rests on one theme. With Incredibles 2, what sticks out to me about Incredibles 2, like I said, is how different each of the tracks are. It's just wildly different stuff from each other, while at the same time keeping that beat, keeping the energy all the way through the movie, keeping you invested.
Can I just ask you something, Tiki, though?
Sure.
Why did you want to use Inside Out for this question?
Okay, that's not fair. That Dragon, Judge.
Yeah, that's Jay. Let's not go.
I know. All right, that was a low blow, but no, just
there's a line. Okay, there's a line. We're gonna walk up to it, but no spitting in the face of the computer.
Okay, I wasn't gonna force you to answer. I was just getting that out there.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
And also, I mean, I feel like Inside Out, like to genuinely answer your question, Jacob, I do feel like while Inside Out is probably the soundtrack I've listened to more, I feel like in the theater, The Incredibles 2 was the soundtrack that impressed me more. Like Inside Out is all about the nuance, but Incredibles 2 is just all about just getting like balls to the walls with it and just really going nuts with it and really just kind of having fun with the music and just living in the moment. And I just remember, especially in the train sequence, I guess that's kind of train of thought. That is the sequence. Like if I were to point anyone, like I just remember the horns in that sequence going crazy. The whole like doom, yeah, like the building, ramping. It's just like it's crazy how edge of the seat it gets. And while it might not be as emotional as Inside Out, Incredibles 2 isn't as emotional of a movie. And I feel like it just fits it like a glove. And my big differentiation, like I said, between Incredibles and Incredibles 2, I absolutely feel like I can point it out. It's the fact that Incredibles 2 does have that huge bombast to it. Like you can notice the 14 years of Giacchino kind of refining his craft and really getting down in with the nitty gritty of it.
Honestly, feeling you can definitely with mine, you can feel a sense of escalation as well. It tells the story. It completes it. Basically, if the movie feels more complete with it, the movie feels much more complete with this score. Like whereas yours could like been like done with okay, maybe not that happy. I'm like not even gonna go there.
Okay.
Okay, but I feel like mine like is accentuated, but is the score I feel is more important to mine because like the score actually helps you accentuate more with the characters, like make you help you feel. I get it. Like it highlights not only the emotions journey, but also Riley's as well, and the characters in the real world. It's just an all-around great score that elevates already great movie into masterpiece territory. Just like the movie itself, the score is a masterpiece.
Oh my god.
All right.
I was doing the best I could with Incredibles 2, but Jacob was absolutely right. I really wanted Inside Out.
All right, here we go, folks. This is an interesting one.
And again, I apologize for bringing that up.
Okay, guys, here's where I'm at on it. Again, this is a very interesting one. And again, I got to tell you, this one turned out better than I thought it would. Here's where I'm going to rule on this one. It was a really close fight, but not as close as the previous one. I'll make that clear. This one, I think, has a clear-cut winner. It's just, I feel. Here's the thing. I feel you both had like Jacob, you had a solid, kind of defense. You had a really solid defense. You had a really good offense. Jacob, you were kind of on fire this round. However, I'm sorry, I should say you had a really solid defense, and Tiki was also very even. But Jacob, the one thing I noticed is that I think you started to hit upon some really great stuff that you could have mined into like an easy victory. And honestly, Tiki kind of helped you out in a few places with the whole bundle of joy thing, which you then turned around to really help you out in the rounds. I mean, that was a really good move. However, at certain points, they did walk into Tiki's trap of bringing up the first film. And honestly, what I boils down to is I really didn't hear near enough against Incredibles 2, and more so like I just heard I heard some repetition with your stuff. Jacob. It was kind of some repetition inside out. It's I didn't really hear what made Bundle of Joy special. I heard that again. You brought up some interesting points how thematically it was tying in. I wanted to hear a little bit more of that, or maybe again I need to hear like why it's so special, why it elevated the material. I get that elevated material. I need a little bit more why. And of course the familiarity point was really good, and it made me almost want to give it to you. But at the end of the day, I'm really not hearing as much against Incredible 2, and really I just think Tiki kind of fought the best this round. Again, he kind of had the fire in this round. I don't really know how else to put it, because again it was dynamic, it was versatile, and then again Tiki wasn't taking shots against the it wasn't taking. He brought up a point that again helped you out, but he didn't take away with the whole it kind of recycles one theme. Again, just kind of celebrate the differences. So the point is close, but I'm giving the point to Tiki.
Man. Oh, that was a fucking David and Goliath right there. Holy shit. Record, god damn.
Personally, I would say Inside Out is the superior story.
Oh, I would also say easily, hands down, any day of the week, Inside Out is way better.
I mean, honestly, what I wanted to hear was, here's the thing, I'm not saying this made you lose, Jacob, but it's just, again, this is the thing, I'm surprised you didn't mention this, the whole, again, basically, it's the new Pixar, I mean, short of, the main thing I was hoping to hear in this fight was, short of the beginning cue of the dun 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 at the top of the movie when it plays with the Disney castle, Inside Out previously held the record for the quickest you got emotional in a Pixar movie. With the Bundle of Joy theme the first time it's played. So you guys were musically on such even footing there, you could have trumped the other guy with whoever got to that point first. So I'm just amazed neither of you really.
I gotta say, that's honestly one of my proudest moments in Disney debates is taking down Inside Out with Incredibles 2. That was a feat. All right.
Again, I didn't see that coming either, folks. I thought he was a goner throughout that fight.
Oh, you thought I was a fool for choosing Incredibles 2. I know you did.
I know.
Choose like Ratatouille or something. I'm like, no. If I'm going against Inside Out, I'm doing it my own way.
To be fair, Ratatouille is an amazing score, but let's not make any mistake there.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I don't think I would have had the same passion for something like Ratatouille. You know what I mean? It's a great score.
Okay, point is 2 excellent scores and get a testament to the artist known as Michael Giacchino. Okay. Round 3. Appropriately, round 3 is about Incredibles 3. So, guys, it's a pitch question. I love a good pitch, you know me. So, guys, I want each of you to pitch Incredibles 3, and there's the streamline this here. Let me be specific here. Here's what I want to hear. give me a sell. Give me a synopsis. Again, like don't go overboard. Like I details don't hurt you on this, but again, let's not go too long on it. It's just give me a sell. Tell me why I should buy a ticket to your pitch. Like give me kind of the elevator pitch, as well as why this would be like compared to the other one, would be like the most amazing film of the summer. I should see it before I see the other one, or just not see the other one entirely. Like why do I salivate over yours and not the other? It's a Tiki.
Okay, so My Incredibles 3 is going to include that coveted 10-year time jump that we all want. Come on, Brad Bird, make it happen. So in that 10-year time jump, Violet would be in her mid-20s, Dash would be in his early 20s, Jack Jack would be around 11 years old, and Bob and Helen would be on the verge of retirement. This setup is very simple, and I think one of the things that Pixar does very well that I'm going to kind of continue is sort of taking sort of very tropey type storylines and reworking them in their own Pixarian way. And for that, I'm taking the classic concept of the father of the bride, the father-in-law who's very skeptical about the husband, but I'm superfying it. I'm going to go with Violet's fiance is, you know what, just for the fun Frozen element of it all, and just kind of to make Frozone have a role of Frozone absolutely loves this kid, I'm going to have it be another guy with ice powers. So Frozone is kind of like more of the father figure to this kid than Bob ends up being. Bob is more skeptical about him. And it's a father of the bride scenario. And throughout the movie, there are kind of hints and pieces that this guy might be up to no good. But in the end of the day, it turns out that the supervillain is none other than Tony Ryanger, out for revenge after all the years of mind wiping.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. Just clarify that point for me. Okay, so the fiance is a kid with ice powers.
Yes.
And Ryanger is the bad guy.
Ryanger is the bad guy. The fiance is the red herring.
Gotcha.
Essentially.
Okay, keep going.
That's about it. So they have to team up to stop Ryanger. Honestly, I didn't know exactly how detailed into this pitch I should go, so I don't necessarily have a gimmick for Ryanger as the villain yet, but I do know that Ryanger has really good motivation. Because if you think about it, his friendship with Violet would have to be founded on these mind erases. You know what I mean? So he has good reason to want revenge against the Parr family for like wiping his mind so many times and maybe potentially causing long-term damage that way. And I just generally think that the father of the bride scenario is something that I'd really love to see play out with with Bob and Violet. I just feel like it'd be adorable to see Bob be a parent that has to kind of let go of his daughter. I think that Violet, it'd be awesome to see. Like, Violet is a character that has a lot of fans. She's a strong female character in the best sense of the word, and it'd be awesome to see her, in that role. I feel like there's a lot that can be mined from this concept. Of course, you've got like Dash's, you've got all the characters kind of coming back. Jack would be an intern at Edna Mode's costume place. I'm sorry, I don't know. Costume place. Jack would be Edna's intern, point being. And that's about it.
Okay, Jacob, walk us through your pitch. At your own pace, take your time.
Sorry, I was muted. I was speaking, but I realized I was muted.
Oh. Sorry, I thought he was making a dramatic entrance. Okay, go on.
Epic fail. Or should I say incredible fail?
Ha!
Alrighty. Mine pitch doesn't like the coveted time jump, but does take place sometime after the events of the second movie. And actually builds upon some of the events of the second film as well. Like, with the rise of superheroes, there's also created a vacuum of supervillains that need to be taken down as well. Eventually, they come. The basic premise is that the Incredibles discover this villain who has the ability to drain the powers of superheroes themselves, drains the power of heroes and use them as well. What happened? There's also this mysterious young girl who is revealed to be his daughter, who actually has the power of suggestion to plan. Think about a quick Inception, where she has the idea to plant an idea in someone's mind, and control that to give them the thought and make them basically do whatever she wants. what she does she uses this to come across as she uses this to lure superheroes to her father, and so he can drain them, and even uses them to break apart. And she even uses that to break apart the Parr family by influencing them in various ways, by basically turning them against each other. It's what later revealed though is that like she's actually the one controlling her father. She implanted implanted the idea in her father that superhero to drain all the powers from the superheroes. And basically, like we know who the villains are, but the real twist is that she's the real mastermind. Basically, the goal would be like them to break free and work together.
So the Incredibles would be working with the bad guys who were controlled, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the goal is for them to break free of the mind control, basically, and realize that basically them realizing they've been led astray.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Jacob. Is there anything else?
That's about it.
Okay, guys. Kind of fight for the sell here. Kind of sell me on it. So again, my opinion's really going to be it's not just. I can only work in objectivity so much on this specific question. You guys really have to kind of try to sell me or kind of dissuade me from one or the other here. So go.
Oh man, Jacob, there's so many things wrong with yours. I'm sorry. I'm oh god. I'm trying not to be mean with this. I really am. I
can say many things about yours as well. Coveted time jump. Put that in quotation marks. Coveted time jump.
Jacob, yours is just a repeat of the Screenslaver all the way down to the villain reveal. I mean, fuck.
It isn't. It's really not.
Yeah, it is. It's basically coming up with the same general idea of the mind control, and then kind of like the actual villain not being the person that you thought it was.
I'm saying like it's not like some kind of big twist. Like we already know that they're evil and all that.
No, I know, but what you're saying is that there's still going to be a big villain reveal, though, and that villain, I don't know, I just feel like that reveal is just kind of like, I guess with mine, to be fair, yeah, there is a reveal with my villain, but
the reveal is basically pointless. It's like oh, Tony's the villain for some reason.
Well, Tony has been built up throughout, and he has a really good motivation, by the way.
Like, oh, you erased my memories, big freaking whoop.
Well, like I said, there's a lot that could happen in these 10 years. I'm picturing the way it happens is that Violet wants to have a relationship with Tony, but unfortunately things keep happening and he keeps having to get his mind erased, probably by Winston himself at this point, because Winston is kind of the de facto Dicker character by the end of Incredibles 2.
Why would he have to keep getting his mind erased? I mean, it's primarily shown that superheroes and normal people can live together. Like, look at Lucius and Honey.
God damn it.
I mean, for all we know, she's a completely normal human. Like, I mean, it's never even revealed that she has powers. Like, and I think if she did, we would know about it. Like, it's pretty, and she clearly knows that he's a super. Like, where's my super suit?
Okay, you know what? Ryager is scorned. All right, he's scorned. He wants the girl, but he can't have the girl. It's a classic Black Hat scenario. All right, we don't need to have the mind wipe to make my scenario work. All right, he's the classic kind of like jealous ex-boyfriend who's coming in to ruin the wedding.
Why Black Cat?
Look, I don't know. There's like
why would he be scorned? I mean, like if he truly, I mean, like why would the relationship work? I mean, you're saying he's been built up, yeah, but like why would you ruin that? I mean, like how would the fans react to this?
I don't know.
I mean, seriously. I mean, like you're citing mine for like a creative fault. Yours is basically just, as you mentioned, rehashing Father of the Bride, but with superpowers.
Yeah, but it's Pixar.
So is mine. Of course, it's Pixar. It's The Incredibles.
All right, man. I really thought I had you, Jacob, but I got to admit you're coming out swinging. When I was hearing your pitch, I thought there were a lot of things I could tear into, but I got to admit you're fighting your battles well, my friend.
But I thought mine. I mean, like And I will admit, like, I tried to make my different enough with hypnosis. It's like more like Inception, not necessarily hypnosis, but more the power of suggestion.
Okay, Jacob, here's the thing. I just feel like yours is a little bit too heavy on the villain, and I feel like fans would be disappointed by the lack of a time swap. I know that Brad Bird has his reasons for not wanting to do the time jump, but at the same time, I feel like Incredibles 2, there's enough people just saying it's more of the same. I'm not saying I feel that way, but there is a small but notable backlash with Incredibles 2 that it doesn't do enough different. And I feel like to truly be the end of the saga, to truly cap it off, you can't just cap it off with another villain. You have to cap it off with a big concept. And I feel like that's where I feel like Bob and Helen kind of dealing with retirement and Bob letting go of his child. That's the cap off of that trilogy. That's basically the so long partner of that trilogy.
The way it works is like it's going back to focusing on Bob. Like the first one focused on Bob, and now this one's focusing on Bob. The idea of mine was like the more I didn't really emphasize.
Okay, to be fair, I feel like with The Incredibles 2, Bob is still the main character, and I feel like the marketing hyped up Helen to be the main character of that movie more than she actually is. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, though. I'm just saying Bob Parr is the de facto protagonist of the Incredible series. It's his story. It's his point of view.
Oh.
I feel like the Helen Parr being the lead character thing was more of a marketing gimmick. Like, don't get me wrong, Helen still has a lot to do, but she's essentially the B storyline in that movie.
I would honestly disagree with that. I would honestly disagree. I mean, the main focus was to like put her in the spotlight.
Yeah, I guess, but all the big stuff that people remember about Incredibles 2 has to do with the Bob side of things.
It doesn't make any of the points wrong, though.
All right.
Like I didn't actually emphasize this during mine, but my group was to focus. My main goal was like to focus on the family structure, and like instead of focusing on Bob or Helen, was like focus on the kids themselves. Like how everything that's going on is affecting the kids.
Yeah, right. But you see, that's what mine would be focusing on as well, except we'd actually have evolution for the characters. We'd have to do some bold new things with them. You know, like Dash could be like kind of like this college hotshot. You know, Violet is maybe kind of settling into a domestic life a little bit too early, and that's disappointing to Bob and Helen. And of course, with Jack, I think the idea of Jack being a 10-year-old, like kind of like genius intern for Edna Mode is just too good to pass up. I mean, that would be just as marketable as baby Jack would be.
Part of Jack's marketability is the fact that he's a baby. I don't think anybody would really.
Yeah, but Jack in like an Edna costume with like the spike of hair still there, like a 10-year-old. A 10-year-old is still adorable. All right, you can still make an adorable 10-year-old.
I just think it'd be as like sellable and marketable or whatever.
But Edna, Jacob, if you have the Edna factor, darling, you can sell anything.
I guess. I just don't think that'd be, as it just wouldn't be a very compelling story. I mean, like from your perspective, it's not a very compelling.
My story is literally Bob letting go of his kids.
Your story is literally Father of the Bride Part 3.
Wow. So this was different. Okay. Guys, I gotta tell you here, I'm kind of half and half on both of yours because you both sold me until a certain point in both of your pitches. I was on the hook, and then some changed. I mean, literally, you both really had me in the beginning for both. Like, okay, this is starting to shape up, and then what? So I'm gonna go on.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything.
All right, well, here's where it really. First of all, here's just some notes on the pitches here. Okay, so Tiki. So I know you've coveted the. I think you've kind of just probably you've told me just again you haven't figured it out to this extent. I'm just saying generally.
Oh, I've described the same exact plot to you before. I have.
Well, I know that. I mean, the whole like basically 10-year time jump and Father Bride. It's really all you've said. And
it's my baby, Dragon. It's my incredible sequel baby.
Sure, and of course, I know you're very passionate about the whole 10-year later time jump. Of course, there's some infamous examples I could point to, but I won't. The point is,
Oh God.
so the point is, so again, you really having it at the beginning there, and the whole again, because again, I'm saying I'm not against look, folks, I'm not against the time jump. I'm really respecting our Bradbird's choice and the rationale with that, but I'm not factoring into this. I'm just saying in general, it's kind of how I feel. But again, so I'm not against the 10-year time jump by any stretch. And in looking at it that way, so again, you're starting we're kind of delving into kind of a father of the bride scenario where it's Bob, the overprotective father, risking losing his daughter. There's all great story points, and again, all that is swell. And the whole Jack as the intern, he's 10 years old. Where Jack, Jack's 10 years old. Where previously Dash has been like 10 or 11 years old. So again, it's kind of next in the cycle sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that's doing it for him. But this whole Ridinger thing, man.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. Look.
Did I not save it a little bit with him being the bitter ex?
I'm getting
Did that not salvage it a little bit?
Look, here's the thing. So Ridinger, as the bad guy, it's an idea that it's a hard sell, but not impossible. Because again, you brought up the mind wipe thing, but then here's the problem. Though Jacob really tore you. The problem, Tiki, is that Jacob he had a little opening, like a little cut in your argument there with the Ridinger thing, and Jacob's like a shark in the water, or he was just like a guy infecting the wound or something. Because he basically he lobbed all of his blows right. It's like he had like a little cut during the boxing match. He just kept punching in that spot like it was a target. And that's the thing. Any hope that you had of recovering from the Ridinger point, again, I almost bought. I was there with you. I was kind of buying into it. It could be embarrassment, could raise the implications. You didn't really dive into the whole implications of it all, which I felt was like, okay, so we'll see if he gets there. But then Jacob just imploded the whole thing. And then you're going like Black Cat and stuff like that. Okay, I think he's going to lose this. So Tony's a stretch. Again, but basically, why the mind wipe? Because again, if supers are okay, why the mind wipe? Okay. And honestly, Tiki, you were pulling some. I don't want to name drop. You were just pulling some moves. Look at him go moves here with the whole. Oh, man. I don't know. It's Pixar. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say on one of these. Like, come on. So that's not winning points. Let's just get the Jacob side here. So again, Jacob, you were really getting in the beginning here. Again, the rise of the heroes, therefore the rise of the villains. Again, you're starting to kind of dive into some. Yes, this would be the logical next step, kind of like fulfilling the. Again, kind of like good kind of trilogy territory. We're starting off with, if I love the concept of your villain, you're kind of Petrelli, just going by the image here, folks, kind of our Petrelli-esque villain. Not specifically Peter Petrelli. I'm just saying that's kind of the image we went with here, but essentially someone who could drain power and absorb it. That to me has a lot of potential for a great villain. Of like if the Incredibles are about they've had their powers and you take away their powers, who are they? And that's the thing that defines their characters. You didn't say any of that though. That's the problem. But again, that's in concept that really was driving me crazy. Oh my God, that's such an insanely good concept. And the whole. But then when you brought the daughter into the mix, the whole power suggestion, I absolutely agree with Tika. The screen. Look, even if you call it Inception, it's too similar to the Screenslaver stuff, Jacob. I get that. I get what you're saying in that it's a different approach and that they're still villains. I get that. It's just it's not different enough.
Better in my head is like to create a parallel to the Parr family. That was like I said, I didn't make that clear enough.
So I mean, at the end of the day, here, folks. Again, it's no offense, guys, but it's kind of a crapshoot between both of yours in that you started so sweet and then you went so sour. I'm going to give it to, again, by a thin margin in this case, because, I think I heard more of the territory I wanted in mind. And again, I think we had a lot of potential, but nothing I could substantiate with Jacobs. Tiki had stuff I could at least substantiate, just like scratch my head. Like, what was up with Ridinger? So I'm giving the point to Tiki. But again, I want to see a better version of Jacob's movie, though.
Okay, fair enough.
So so Tiki's got 2 points, Jacob has 1, and now, folks. Get your thumbs and your fingers ready. It's time for the Incredicoin. That's right, folks. So we're going to go in kind of the established order here. I'm going to provide both of our contenders the opportunity to either increase their point average or lower it. So, Tiki, how you feeling? You feeling lucky, punk? Do you? Huh?
Yeah, I'm going to take it. Sure.
All right. All right.
All right.
All right. So Tiki has 3 on the board. Jacob.
If I lose, that means I won't be able to move forward.
No, if you lose, you'll have to get all the speed round questions.
True.
Yeah, so basically I'd be dead.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Well, it's your call. Again, you don't have to. I want to make it clear. Again, it's completely his option, folks.
Okay, I'll go for it.
Okay. Folks,
Oh
never
shit!
underestimate the power of coin science. That most times when you flip a coin, you're going to get the opposite. But again, it's a 50-50 shot, so what do I know?
3-0.
All right,
Yeah, 3-0.
man.
Again, we have four. We got unless we tie, we got 4 speed round questions. So Jacob still has a very reasonable shot here. He's just going to be on the ball. Has to be on the ball, and so far he's been really on the ball.
Right, but I mean, like, if I even win one of these first 4, then I'm gonna win the whole thing. So I'm just saying statistically, that's
No,
what
you're
we're
right.
at.
The current's been, yep, you're right. Okay, so points, Jacob's really going to have to be on the ball here, folks. Okay. All right, let's see where to start here. Okay, I got a doozy here. I'm going to maybe start with kind of a softball and work up to the doozy.
I don't know. You better start with the doozy.
Yeah?
I think you should start with the doozy just to make sure it's out there.
Okay, well, here we go, folks. Most incredible, emphasis on incredible, most incredible creative choice in a Pixar film.
Ooh.
Like most gobsmacking, incredible, like oh my god, choice in a Pixar film, a theatrical film.
As in good or bad?
Honestly, it can be. It depends. I mean, just incredible. It has to be like in gobsmackers, like you're in wonder and it's very remarkable. So if you want to go negative with it, I mean, you can. But again, it's
Married Life.
Okay, Tika's got Married Life.
Uh,
Again,
you see, that's how it feels, Jacob.
What are you talking about?
Just looking in the inside out of it all.
Oh my god, it's so revengeful.
Yeah, that's how it feels to have the obvious answer.
There's a very obvious screw you that Jacob could use here, but we're going to see if he's smart enough to use it.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot, and Pixar's done a lot. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think here. I know it has to be quick.
Just to refresh, so Tiki's got Married Life, as in the most incredible creative choice is the Married Life sequence, correct?
Yes, just the montage, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, I mean, this might be a bit of a stretch. The concept of Inside Out.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, with concept, I'm gonna need you to be a little more specific. Just
like the idea to basically personify emotions.
Okay, persona. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And the way it tells the story.
All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Of course. Oh, by the way, folks. Of course, I should set this up before we go any further. Of course, we got a little stopwatch at the ready here, folks, and of course, it's we go 30-second opening statement, then 15-second rebuttal, and that's all she wrote.
So Pixar wasn't even the first people to come up with the concept of emotions being personified. That would be Cranium Command at Epcot. Secondly, Married Life is just an absolutely fantastic sequence. It's just the whole idea of showing a life and showing the ins and outs of it, showing basically the implied loss of a child and the death of a loved one after a long life. That is something that Pixar is still known for. To this day, even though Inside Out is the best Pixar movie, Married Life is still the best Pixar sequence.
First off, I never actually claimed that they were the first. I just think like the idea and the execution of it was incredible. Like, the way they were able to personify these emotions in a way that and how the emotions themselves can basically having one of the best emotional journeys ever put to film. And the whole concept and its execution in itself, and the whole idea in Pete Docter's direction, it truly is incredible.
Right, but the concept is a ripoff of an Epcot ride, so therefore everything you have to say is invalid. Kidding, but seriously, like I said, just the whole creative, everything at the height of Married Life is just Pixar at top form. It's just absolutely what Pixar's known for.
You. Sorry.
Sorry. Hold on. Go ahead.
Again, it doesn't. Okay, I know you were kidding, but I just don't think it renders anything invalid. And as I said, I never claimed it was the first. Second, married life for all its glory is only one small part of the movie, and like, I think the rest of the movie itself lives up to that, especially sequences later on as well.
Right. Let's see. Sorry, folks, this is a difficult one here. Okay, so of course, 2 Pete Docter films too, which ironically.
You had a Pixar, everyone.
Of course, Married Life. It's a bold, well-known, very gutsy sequence. That's definitely what I'm hearing from Tiki. And Jacob did have a valid point that, of course, Married Life. It's I mean, again, Up has other great iconic sequences that people have gone to, but seriously, of course, it is still Married Life. And with the idea of personify emotions, again, I will say this: I think we overall got hung up on the whole like who did it first thing, but still a valid point. It was kind of the whole Crane Command thing. But again, just taking that out of the equation is kind of striving from Pete Docter's kind of the creative energy of Pete Docter on that film. What I really wanted to hear from Jacob, though, is. I'm conflicted here, folks, because I'm not. I know what Jacob is getting at, but he's not really saying it, and I'm not sure if he really minded enough to really count it into the kind of the judging process here. Because what I wanted to hear was that, basically in the editing of Inside Out, we would have had the, we have the emotions parallel Riley's journey, what Riley's going through, and so on and so forth. So basically making the structural argument through the whole versus one sequence in Married Life. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know exactly how to rule on that, but I guess honestly, I think Jacob just kind of tripped up and kind of Tiki baiting him with the whole cranium command of it all. I think Jacob just, he kind of was combating that and kind of eating up some precious time with that. So folks, I'm giving it to Tiki.
Oh, Jacob, you poor soul. You fell right into my trap. Dragon, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what I was doing with Cranium Command. I'm sorry.
Folks, I'm on the side where, again, I would defend the Pete Docter's choice before, though. I know the whole Cranium Command thing. I believe I would
Oh, no, but Dragon, you are so right. That was totally a strategic move on my part. That was in tennis terms, that was a lob. Oh, man.
So good strategy on Tiki's part there. And again, Jacob, I want to give points.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jacob. You fell right into my trap there, buddy.
Folks, let's not take anything away from this evening here, because again, folks, let me remind you here, because again, these guys were really neck and neck, and it was going. This is one of the best fights that we've had. Again, the pitch was kind of an oddball, I'll give you that, but still, first 2 rounds, stunning.
Yeah, I still think the David versus Goliath of it all with The Incredibles 2 versus Inside Out is probably one of my favorite Disney debate rounds ever, honestly.
I gotta tell you, I love kind of
honestly, I thought I was gonna get with that, and you were gonna win with the first one. I mean, the first one was like the sequences. I mean, like that was like a David and Goliath, because that was like my favorite scene from that part from the movie too. So it's like we basically won on our reversals.
Nice. All right, Jacob, it's been a fine night fighting with you. I'm sorry I had to cut the speed round short in such a kind of trollish way, but hey,
Can we at least hear the other questions that Dragon would have presented us?
Well, I mean, I might be able to use them next time, though. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Okay.
Okay, so so any more after fight you guys want to kind of shake hands, kiss babies, take pictures, anything like that? Just
No, like I said, Jacob, I was just like with the Inside Out versus Incredibles 2 question. That's got to go down as even though you lost that one, it was a well fought fight. You know what I mean? Like that was such a back and forth round, and I feel like at certain times I thought you had it, at certain times I thought I had it. And so just for that alone, even though this was kind of wonky with how quick the speed round was and the fact that the pitch wasn't exactly a gold mine of material, I don't know. This was a really fun evening, Jacob.
Yeah, all right. Let's not just like shake hands, kiss Jack, and leave the parts confused.
So yeah, folks, I'm incredibly proud of these boys this evening. Again, I think they get their heads straight a little bit on the pitches, but again, they really impressed. Just for the record, I've heard this kind of tossed around as like potential stuff. I don't know. I don't remember who at Pixar. I don't know if it was John Walker or somebody who was kind of throwing this out there as like some ideas they kind of pitched for exploring. But again, I tell you, the one idea I'm really thrilled with, if they go this route, I'd love if they went this route, would be not an incredible sequel right off the bat. I'm not saying we should never do that. I'm just saying a prequel to the glory days with like how Bob met Frozone and the whole kind of the old days of supers, which again, that sounds like an amazing movie to me, and I'd be down for it. There's more Incredibles does not hurt it in any form, honestly. But
okay, if that's the case, then Mr. Snickerdo has to be the villain in that movie. Skipperdo, I'm sorry.
He's not a candy bar.
Hey, Mr. Skipperdo. All right, the rabbit sucks.
The rabbit bites. Okay, so folks, thanks for joining us for yet another incredible evening. We'll see you next time on the wonderful world of Disney Debates. Take care.
Nom nom cookie.
Nom nom.